Welcome to the tour of our little village house. Isn't it cute? Very quaint. Let's see what the inside has to offer. Starting with the pink flooring that our landlady is very proud of. So here's the main room. It's got this little nook over here. The only place we have electricity, right there. And here's the rest of the room. So this is the main living area. Brian and I sat on the floor and played cards there last night. It was quite reminiscent of our early days in China, a time Brian and I often refer back to. We lived in southern China. We had one little baby. He was 1 year old. And we arrived during typhoon season, and just the way it worked out when we first landed, almost every night the power was off. So we would sit in the dark and play Rook. We played over and over again, and we got to the point where if we had a good hand, we really wanted to show the other person, so we'd take a picture of our hand, and then when the round was over, show each other what a great hand we had. But I guess it was a really foundational time for us in learning how to live more simply, learning how to deal with challenges, and learning how to have fun when we didn't have the comforts and conveniences that we were used to. So it's been helpful as we just spent our third night in our little village house here, and for me, I think it's really a time of challenging myself, getting out of my comfort zone, away from the securities that I rely on so much, and seeing if I can handle living out here, both physically as I need to see if I can keep myself hydrated and prevent another kidney stone, as I shared about in a recent video. 'Twas the night before empty nest. So physically I need to see if I can handle it. We're in a tropical climate, very close to the equator, and there's no air conditioning. And then emotionally, can I handle giving up the comforts and securities that I'm used to? And you'll see in a minute what we're dealing with here, what this place offers. Alright, so let's keep going with the tour. We've got a calendar that our landlady put up that haven't taken down yet because we don't have anything to replace it with, and it's just kind of a fun little bit of local culture. And now for the bedroom. There's all these little touches that our landlady put in, including these curtains that she's very proud of. That she had to go to great effort since we're on a tiny island. She had to get these brought in from another place. So to her, they symbolize the work she's put into getting this place set up. And here we have the bedroom. When I first saw this room, it spoke to me more of a little writer's room, having a desk in here and being at candlelight and writing away like so many of the writers from early days that I admire. And that is one thing that I hope to do while I'm here, is more reading and writing, getting away from modern life and the way that I interact with the world now, and just getting a break from being on the computer and going back to a simpler way of living. So I imagine this will eventually become our kitchen, or a part of our kitchen. I'm still trying to figure out how I would set this place up, because we've got this narrow little walkway here, and this little window is quite a prize. Get lots of sea. We get lots of sea breeze coming in through there. And then this is what the landlady presented as the kitchen, which I find that really hard to imagine. If you have any creative ideas, let me know in the comments. And then here we have our sink, which was not here when we originally looked at the place and rented it out. And I must say, when I heard she was installing a sink, I thought that there was going to be a faucet, but there's not. This is a soap dispenser and a sink. And the water is here in this bucket. So the idea is you scoop the water out and pour it over your dishes or your hands when you're washing your hands. The only faucet we have is here. And we have running water for 1 hour of the day from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. So we've got to fill up our supply for the day during that hour. And then, for me, absolutely the most challenging part, and probably the biggest test, if I can actually live here, part-time, that is the bathroom. Here we got our toilet, and as you can see, there's no plumbing, just a hole in the bottom. It reminds me of the outhouses from camping when I was a kid, and my mom's stories of having an outhouse. And then this is where you would imagine a shower to be, but no, instead we've got this scoop here. Just gives a really different perspective on life. So this is the biggest challenge. Then we'll go directly to the biggest joy. Part of it being the pour over my husband made me this morning, and the other part of it being where I drank the pour over. Look at this. I should back up a little and see if you can see the door in the hole. So I've got my chair here, then this little tiny wooden door. Look at this. And then we'll go out and see the view. And if you watched my video of Poetry by the Sea, now you know where I was sitting. And this is it. We're living in a fishing village. There are fishing nets everywhere. People working very hard to make ends meet for their families. And we have this incredible view to enjoy. So that's it. That's the tour of our little village home. Our neighbors have been very friendly. They brought us homemade food, fish cakes and fried bananas that were absolutely delicious. So I brought some little goodies from the city for their kids. I'm surprised I haven't seen the kids yet, because last time we were here, this is our second trip. We stayed 2 nights the first time and staying 3 nights this time. And last time we were here, the kids were poking their heads in the window. They were up on this deck here. This morning, the only visitor I've had is a cat. And of course, the chickens. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with my journal today, writing down some things I observe, maybe some things that can help me for our next trip. So far the biggest challenge was definitely the transition of getting ready to come and letting go of staying in our home in the city and saying goodbye to Mocha. And I was definitely nervous about the heat. So far the nights I've spent in the village, it had rained during the day, so that really cooled things down. But last night was our first night to stay here when it hadn't rained, and the afternoon was almost unbearable. I was very relieved that the evening it cooled down and I was able to sleep. It's quite different from usually. If I think of being by the ocean, I think of being on vacation and enjoying a place that offers more comforts than our home. And this is a different case where we're not here on vacation. Brian's off at work right now, meeting with some of the fishermen, and I'll gradually be figuring out what my life looks like when we're here. A big part of my dream is to document my life here and give you some insight into what it's like here on this fishing village, what life is like for people, what are some of the challenges that they face, because I think it's so important for us to understand the other people that we share this world with and how different their life is, and the challenges that they face, and for all of us to live in a way that is beneficial to others. So here we are, sitting down in my chair. Well, sitting down in a chair seems like the most basic thing to me. Brian and I really noticed on our last trip when we were sitting on the porch how out of place we felt. Let me see if I can get the baby chicks on there. Lots of fishing supplies around, and lots of chickens on this island. We joined some new friends for dinner, and they sit on the floor. There are a few chairs and couches out on this island. People sit on the floor to eat and to relax. So when Brian and I were sitting on the porch in our chairs, we just felt very out of place. And, noticed how different we are, how much we stand out in this community. The first morning that I woke up, you see that window across the way. That's another neighbor's house. I stepped out onto our porch, and there was a lady in the window. It seemed like she was waiting for me. She had her camera ready, her cell phone, and she was immediately taking pictures of me. So yes, I do stand out. So I've got a lot ahead of me to figure out. One thing that's really a joy to see here is to see the kids playing outdoors, running around. There are a couple of kids on the grass over there who've just been sitting there for a couple hours playing, enjoying a more carefree life. Thanks for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed the tour of our village home. And if you'd like to hear the story of our setback and how difficult it was for us to get out here, you can watch 'Twas the Night Before Empty Nest, a story that tells of one of the obstacles of getting here and also shares my love for art. Bye!